Sniffs. Today I am doing a review about a book I recently read. The book which I'm talking about is called Orange is the New Black: My Year in a Woman's Prison. Now, the author of the book is Piper Kerman, and it's not just a novel, it is a memoir. It is Piper Kerman who is talking about her experience in a woman's prison for a year long. Now, before I start off, I'm going to give a quick summary about what the book is actually about. So, the book is about Piper who got involved into a lesbian relationship in her younger years. Now, the person she was seeing, called Nora, was involved with some serious drug business, some serious drug trafficking. It not just the dealer, but it was like global. It was very huge. So Nora had like a big, what was like a big part of it. She was a very important person in this drug trafficking, and Nora and Piper Kerman was like really in love with her and wanted to get a little bit involved. So she agreed to traffic just drugs money from America to Paris, if I'm not mistaken. So she was caught by police, and she wasn't like held captive immediately, but they had to do a trial of her, and it was taking a lot of time. So she was like free, but they were seeing her case, and she had to go to prison for a year, but not immediately. So she broke up with Nora, got back to her hometown, and met her fiance Larry. And after a year or so, the police got to her door and said there were things in her case, and she had to go to the women's prison. So she had this like going away party with her friends, with her fiance, and she got to prison. Now, at first in prison, it was very hard because she couldn't like act normal as in normal life, because prison is something totally different, and she had to learn how to deal with inmates, and she had to learn how to behave herself. She got into a lot of arguments, into a lot of not fights, but there were, yeah, a lot of incidents and arguments. And well, afterwards, she had to do her trial, a testimony about the case of Nora, because Nora was in much bigger problems, because she was a bigger part of the drugs trafficking than Alex, than Piper. I'm sorry. And afterwards, she got free, but there was a miscommunication about where in the country she would be like set free, and her fiance was waiting, but they weren't at the same place, and she got free at like the completely other side of the country than Larry, and he was waiting and she was waiting, and they didn't see each other, and that is the end of a story that is a plot twist. So well, first off, my experience with this story. Now, the book is filmed, and it became a Netflix series. So I actually first saw the series, all 6 seasons, before I started to read the book. So I've been watching this series since it came out, and around that time I was 13 or 14. So I've been watching this for a long time, and I really thought was a really good series, and I was immediately hooked. Um, so the series actually means a lot of me, and are also memories of that time when I watched it. So the series are actually like better for me. And the thing is, what the real difference actually is between those two is that the book, it is memoir. It is a true experience. You When you read it, it really shows that it is something that really happened. There are like, of course, there are like incidents and big things where you think like, whoa, or what, but it's not that big of a. It's a big. There are big deals in the book, but it's not like such a big deal compared to the series. Of course, it is a Netflix series. They want the viewer to catch on immediately. They want to make money. They want to have a lot of audience. So of course they are going to make their show very big, very compared to the book. It's like extravaganza. The things that happen there are like unbelievable, and you think like, whoa, or what? Ooh, I don't want to see that. And in the book, it's minimalized. I mean, it's true. It's true. And the thing is, I first saw this series, so actually the book was a little bit boring for me. The language was also not so easy to read. I mean, I understood everything, but it wasn't just something that I could read. No, I had to pay fully attention for reading it. So actually, I liked the series more. So now to get into the main characters. Now, the thing is, I had seen the series before the book, as I told, so there was no surprise for me or something like that. But to do it the other way around, the only thing I was like, what was different is that in the book, they are just using different names. That's it. Um, for main setting, yeah, I don't really have an answer for that. Because I first watched the series, and when I was reading the book, I was imagining it for myself. Um, I was, yeah, imagining it for myself as what I have previously seen in the book, in the series. So now let's go on to scenes. Um, well, there is this. There are a lot of scenes, of course, that were changed in the series compared to the book, and the one I chose was like Piper when she first got into prison. She actually said to her to the fellow inmates, "Whoa, this food is really disgusting. I can't eat this." Um, but one of the inmates was also the cook of the prison. So she thought it was just a fellow inmate, and it was, but she was also the cook. So she actually, yeah, insulted her without knowing it was the cook. So the cook of the series is of the book is actually it's a woman, and she's very revengeful. You can laugh with her, you can mock her. She really wants to be the big boss, so she couldn't laugh with that at all. So in the book, she made it difficult for her to fit in the group, and she was like not bullying her, but she was bullying but for like a short time. So in the book, you're just reading that she's saying hurtful things and stuff, but in the series, she got a plate for Piper, and she said, especially for you, because you don't like food. So it was like a whole thing where it looked very nice, but when she took it, there was like this smell coming to her because there was a used tampon in the sandwich. And she got like very nasty food for like a week in the series. So that was kind of funny. Well, now for the scenes I wish that hadn't been changed. It's actually in the book. In the series, Piper and Alex. Alex is another name for Nora, so the drugs girlfriends. They ended up in the same prison. That is what happened in the series, but in the book it wasn't like that at all. In the book, she was talking a lot about Nora, aka Alex, but she wasn't in the same prison until she had to do that testimony for her case, and she ended up in the same bunk with Nora herself and sister of Nora, and Piper was thinking all along that Nora ratted her out, and they had this like big talk where it wasn't true, and they like became friends again, and they forgave each other. And actually, in the book, that was a huge scene. That was like very special because you're reading all about her, and now it's like in the present that they are talking to each other, and that was actually a big scene for the book. So of course it wouldn't match the story of the series, but it was a special moment, and I wish that hadn't been like fully changed. Um, So there were some scenes that were like way better because of the change. For instance, Piper had not a fight, but like a conflict with the Latinas of the prison, and they were very harsh women. You can't. Sorry for my. No, I'm not going to say it. They were just very harsh women. Let's say it like that. And there was a conflict where those Latinas thought she was racist, and this was just a conflict, and they got really, really mad. So that's what happened in the book, and it happened in the series. But in the series, the Latina girls gathered in the kitchen and like took her. They lured her into the kitchen, and then they trapped her. So what they did is they took like this metal stick, and at the end they formed it in a way that it was a swastika sign, and they put it at the fire of the kitchen very long, and then they burned the swastika sign into her arm, and it was a scar you could see forever, and a very harmful scar, and no one wants to carry a swastika sign for the rest of their lives. I mean, I wouldn't. So that scene was actually became a lot better, and it was like, whoa, what happens? Um, so then parts of the book that the film left out, as I explained, of Nora. That is something the film and the series left out. But also the thing is about the beginning of the book. It's a very big part of the book is about Nora and Piper, their relationship, and in the series you are just like getting these short flashbacks into the series what their relationship was like, but in the book you are reading their relationship in detail. You are reading what they had been through, what they thought about each other, all those things. You are really reading it in detail, and they left all of those things out in the series, of course, to make it more exciting, to make sure more stuff would happen, so that the viewer wouldn't be bored or anything. But a huge part of the relationship was just completely left out into these series. So, well, what do I think about the changes? Are they good or bad? Now, it depends from person to person. Now, I personally, I am not a reader, and I prefer the series. I think those changes, those wow, big extravaganza changes are actually good, because it's like this. There are like these horrifying scenes where you're really drawn to it, and I really like that. But if you're more the type of a reader and don't want all those things, whoa, did that, but just want to read like a true thing, you can go. It's best for you to go for the book. To Because it's really a memoir. It's really someone telling a true story. And I think if I hadn't seen those series earlier, I would be more drawn to the book, and I would have enjoyed the book more than I did now. There's also a thing I forgot at the scenes, and that is which scenes were added to the series and wasn't in the book, and that was like something very big. They actually made a whole season of it, and it was that there was a riot in the prison. A riot, so everyone got very mad. There were officers held captive. They were tortured. There was someone killed. No, there were two officers killed. So it's very, very, very big thing that actually never took place. It happened between the testimony of Piper. Then you had this big riot. Then they had to be moved to another prison, and then Piper got free. So that is the end. And so between the end and the testimony, there was like this very, very big thing going on, and I think that is because those series were so popular and people didn't want it to stop, that they made something very big to make it last longer. And what is also a very funny change, what I was actually very shocked about at the end of a series, a plot twist of a series, is that her fiance Larry, that they never stayed together because she fell in love with Alex at the prison, and Larry fell in love with her best friend who already had a child. So Larry wasn't a part of the series for like a long time, and at the end, not Larry picked her up, but her brother, and she got directly to her brother, so there wasn't a problem between those countries. But another character of the series experienced that, so she wanted to go to her fiance. It was the same thing, but just with another character, because she was getting pregnant of her boyfriend out of prison, and they experienced that, not Piper. So that is actually like a very big change, and also something that is completely made up. So, whose points do I agree with more? I think I already covered that at previously, that I prefer the series because I'm also just not a reader, and I just want to see something in front of me, something easy. Um, so I'm a bigger fan of the series. So what stayed the same? Well, what stayed the same is the characters of the book. They are completely the same. When I read it, I could directly recognize the characters I had seen in the series as in the book, because only their names changed, but their characteristics, their ethnic backgrounds, their body size, all of those stuff were completely the same. Only they had different names. Of course, in the book it states with those basic characters, but in the series there were a lot of characters brought into, a lot of fun big characters that played a big role were brought into it, and at the book it just stayed with those basic characters from series 1 and 2. Um, so yeah, that was it for my review. I hope I covered everything, and that everything is clear to you. And yeah, that was the end of it. Bye, Mrs. Neves.